Well, a very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Flight Deck 2 Sim live stream. Today, 26th of May 2019, 10 o'clock in the evening in the UK, but 6 hours behind in Canada. It's our second ever stream outside of Europe. Oh my goodness, what we've got a good evening flight for you this evening. We are going to be flying from Calgary in Canada, Alberta, to Vancouver, which is in British Columbia, I believe. Flight time around 1 hour 5 minutes. The news was we were actually meant to have done this stream last night. There was a VATSIM event going on between these two places here, but unfortunately I had big issues with Ortho 4XP. I got home from being out all day, tried to download it, I broke some of the tiles, then I messed up with some of the installation, and some of the guys in my members Discord very much helped me fix it. Spent about 2 hours fixing it, and we're going to basically repeat that stream and do it right now. So apologies, but you didn't know about it, which is the good news, but we're going to do that now. Obviously there's no VATSIM on this sector at the moment as well. I was a bit late firing up Nightbot, so you should be able to now use the exclamation mark and ZIBO to find information about the mod as well. A lot of banter coming in from the members because I was telling them about this stream. I said I was going to start it about 30 minutes ago, but I spoke to ZIBO about 30 minutes ago. And he said, oh, just hold on, because what we'll do, just prior to the stream, we'll release the final version of 3.34. So this is the third version, I think, 3.0 final. It's an accumulation of all the updates so far. Again, I've been away from the sim for about 5 or 6 days, so I've had no chance or idea to basically set up and test it. What I'm going to do now, because there's so much release notes, is going to post that into the text. Actually, way too much text to post there. But if you look at the video description right at the bottom, you'll be able to see the release notes of this version of the mod, which will be released after this stream here. Perfect. So got the usual members, Alan, Davis, Steve, Mayer, Tim, I was just talking to about 10 minutes ago before the stream, giving me plenty of banter as usual. Rygot M, dude, election results are coming. What are you doing streaming? Yeah, the European elections. I do kind of follow politics, but not to the degree of the European elections, especially as the UK is meant to be leaving the EU, but that is for something else to talk about at a different time. And we've got the usual people here. So yeah, here we are. We're currently in Calgary, and as I said, I've got very little experience of flying outside of Europe, so we're in obviously Canada. So we're going to use inches of mercury to set the QNH, transition altitudes up at 18,000 feet. And this scenery, by the way, guys, is completely free. It is from Canada for X-Plane. You'll find it in the ZIBO, in the X-Plane forums there. It's pretty decent for US scenery. And we are on VATSIM as well, but obviously there's no ATC at the moment because it's just us, I think, here pretty much there. We're fully cold and dark. We're going to do the full setup as we make our way over to Vancouver. So we'll jump into the mod now. We are completely cold and dark. Let's pop on the battery, and all I've done basically, guys, is open up AviTab and select some charts we need for departure. I've not even loaded the fuel or anything. But we'll get the GPU connected now as well. There we go, we've got some electrical power, and we've got 6 green for the landing lights up here, and up here electric hydraulic pumps on. Now we can do all the fire tests. Again, very mundane in the mod. You know, nothing's going to go wrong unless you set it up that way, but I just do what I do every time I jump in the aircraft, essentially, for a bit of repetition. Now, I've not actually flown for 3 weeks, because May's been my month off. My first flight back is on the 1st of June. I'm going to be flying to Rome, so you'll hopefully see some stuff on the social media feeds as I get back into flying again. It's been 4 weeks since I've flown, so it should be good fun for me. I'm very excited actually to get back into the flight deck. Perfect. Right, emergency exit lights on, fasten belts on, push the attend button to test, and we come up to the MCP later. We technically set that later as well. We check the flap lever. Matches the indicator position, working our way down here. We do the cargo fire test next. There we go, and that's all looking good. Pop on VHF 1, we can turn off VHF 2 there. That's all set. We'll turn up the panel lights, circuit breakers, we check, emergency escape rope, stall warning tests. There's been about warning tests, you do that next as well. Put the RSs to nav. You guys must get bored of me doing this, but this essentially, if you want to become an airline pilot and you're a younger generation, this is what you're going to be doing 2 or sometimes 4 times a day. Only the initial setup once, but yeah, it is repetitive, but I enjoy doing it every single time nonetheless. Well, that's new. I haven't seen that before. they've bolted that on there quite recently. It's a PBE. That is a personal breathing device. So if there's smoke in the cabin or flight deck, you can put that on, so you don't have to inhale any of that stuff there. Oh yeah, that reminds me, better start the boarding as well. So start flight leg. There we go, perfect. Sergio, you missed me flying the PMDG on Prepared. I don't really miss flying the PMDG on Prepared. It is an excellent add-on, but my Prepared or FSX days are long gone. X-Plane is by far the most superior simulator, certainly from a flying and dynamic point of view there. Richard Hausberg, what a great way ending the week and so much more fun than the EU election stuff. Absolutely, I agree. Danny Blizzard, good evening. Holding the baby whilst watching this. Well, please don't drop the baby on behalf of watching my live stream. Excellent. Right, so jumping back into the mod. We've done the safety inspection. We can now do the preliminary flight deck inspection. So we now do a lights test, which actually I don't think I usually do in the streams, to be fair, but we did put the lights on. We just do a quick panel scan. Oops, get my orientation all correct. What's happened here? I've got a little bit twisted my neck here. So you just do a panel scan, making sure that you don't have any lights blown. I think I've mentioned in a stream before, each of these warning lights, they have two bulbs in it for redundancy, so if you see one's blown, you can just replace the other ones. You always want to have two there as well. You can see here as well, look at the cabin altitude. It's way up here at 3,000 feet. That's because the elevation in Calgary is about 3,000 feet, so it's important that matches as well. So it's good to see the mod is working in that respect. So yeah, that's the lights test. We then do the oxygen test as well, which is down here. Again, this mask is different to what I'm used to. How do you test that one? There you go. We have 3 test positions on our different ones there. Hockey Highlights, how do you like version 3.0? We'll find out soon, because I only downloaded it 15 minutes ago. As I said, I've been away from the simulator, so I've been unable to test the mod for the last few days. Excellent. So the oxygen mask is test enter IRS heading. That shouldn't usually turn up unless you've put in your coordinates on the ISDU, which is up here. I've never had to do that, only in training. Right, so EFIS control panel, put terrain on. Right, now we're in Canada. I need to change this to inches of mercury. And what is the inches of mercury in Calgary right now? I'll have to find that out on my mobile telephone. Let me just open the weather app. The current inches of mercury, where is it? 3013. However you say that. I said I've no... Well, I did actually, funny enough, I did my CPL in Arizona for 6 months, but that was nearly 10 years ago, so I've completely forgotten about flying in America. I've got Alan Davies coming in with £1.99 tip and donation. Thank you very much. Thanks for the continued great content. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate the tip and donation there. Patrick Pierre, where do you find version 3.0? It's not available publicly yet. I'm part of the ZIBO beta tester, if you want to call me that, or whatever it is. And this version should be available publicly as soon as this stream is over. Right, so set the inches of mercury. I don't have any performance data for any airports in Canada because my EFB is just based on data from Europe and all of my airlines destinations and alternates. So what we're going to have to do is just set an MFRA randomly. So what we'll do is set an MFRA of 1,000 feet above our present altitude. So we'll set 4550, and that's the height at which we'd accelerate in the event of an engine failure. Again, I have no specific data of this airport, so that will be set here. Yeah, when you have such a high airfield elevation, you must remember that, especially on approach. So when you're at 10 miles, you typically should be at 3,000 feet. Well, that's if the airport's at sea level. You know, if you're on a 10-mile final in Calgary, you should be at around 6,500 feet, 6,000 feet. So you just have to think about those sort of things when you fly into an airport with such high elevation. Right, so the MFRA is set. Did we select airports? No, we didn't. Clock as well. So, yeah, this is a thing that's worth pointing out. I always fly in Europe, so the local time isn't that far off Zulu, but the worldwide time in aviation is Zulu time. So this is... what all pilots will be seeing in the 737 right now is 21:11 Zulu time, regardless of where they are. Noah Featherstone, you've definitely donated in the past. Well, thank you very much again for your tip and donation, $1.99. Good luck on the flight today. Yes, we'll need it because this version of the mod is untested. I've not even flown this sector either, so anything could happen. Anything could happen. Right, so that's all set. Lights are set up as well. Excellent. We'll finish getting the aircraft set up before, again, we'll go into more information about our routings, our SID, and all that extra stuff there. Right, so Here is the operational flight plan. Actually, if I bring it up in the AviTab plugin. So this is filed on SimBrief. Here's our broadsword 01 call sign, our routing today. Flight time in the region of 1 hour 5 minutes, cruising at 36,000 feet. There's all the usual stuff that you'd sign off. And here is the routing information, which is what we need to put into the FMC. So it's quite a short routing today. And we'll jump up here. Perfect. So FMC. That reminds me, before I do any of that, I need to set up the rest of his stuff in here. David Blancard, very generous here. $20, 20 Canadian dollars for the hours put in last night, and still back tonight. Appreciated, Sleepy. Yeah, thank you very much for your help as well. Getting all that stuff sorted. As I said, I spent 2 hours yesterday trying to fix all the Ortho 4XP tiles, trying to get it all sorted. So I really appreciate that tip of donation there. Another tip as well coming in. We've got Truffle suture coming in, currently in the ATPL ground school. This gives me hope. Excellent, thank you very much. Yeah, I was there once. Don't spend all your time on a desktop simulator during your flight training. I didn't, but it's certainly good to go back and fall onto, especially when you're doing instrument rating as well. And I've got Johan Johnson coming in with 50, is that Swedish SEK? I cannot remember the currencies, guys. These donations are very generous nonetheless. Thank you very much there. Right, anyway, as I was saying, we're getting a little bit sidetracked. You guys keep tipping, very generous. So fuel weight and balance. So if we look into the flight plan here, you can see, if I go back to page 1, standard flight plan fuel today is 5365, so we'd probably call that 5.5 tons. Now, I've not actually looked at any of the weather today in Calgary or Vancouver. The METAR format is very different to what you'd find in Europe. There's some phraseology which I had to look up and double check. But otherwise the weather looks pretty good. It's pretty standard. Few clouds, 19 degrees, light variable wind. So what we'll do, we'll just take standard block fuel today. So 5.5 tons. There we go. That has been entered. And the zero fuel weight today, I've based this off 162 passengers. I always do a random amount here, which gives us a zero fuel weight of 58.6 tons. So what are we going to have to put in there to get that to 58.6? It's going to be about, so that's 17, 58.4, 17.2. So that represents roughly 160 passengers. So I just get that 58.6 to match up there. That way the flight plan is going to best accurately match your fuel burn and payload as well. Excellent. Right, that is all loaded. Right, jump back into the FMC. Let's finish this setup. So we are currently in Calgary, which is Charlie Yankee Yankee Charlie. Our coordinates are here. And look at this, nice far west from what I'm used to. And our code for Vancouver is Charlie Yankee Victor Romeo. Our call sign, of course, the broadsword 01 of 2XL Airways. We do love this call sign. Right, so I'm unfamiliar with Calgary. Light and variable winds here. I based this off Flight Radar 24. I'm thinking they're departing on runway 17 right. I might be completely incorrect. And now these SIDs, we're going to cover this later. Very simple in Calgary, I've noticed, and other airports of this sort of size. You only just have a few to select, and I think you just get vectored off this departure, then onto your en route waypoint. So we're going to select the BAMF 2, which is applicable to us today, and the rest of the routing just basically comes off the operational flight plan. So hopefully if I can get this in a position so you can see what I'm entering, that will do us just nicely. So we're going to go direct to BOTAG, and then it's going to be Quebec 894. Now why is that not letting me enter that? That is no good. Interesting. I can't put in Quebec 894 for some reason. Why is that? Let me just try and put in the next waypoint, which is Bouve. Well, that's worked. Let's now try it as well. Quebec 894. I have no idea why that's not working. Ooh, that's interesting. Why have I put that there? Don't make me reset the FMC. There we go. Anyway, just before I get that done, I've got Wojtek coming in as one of my members. Thank you very much. I've rushed from my gym to catch a stream. Remember, the transition altitude is at 18,000 feet. Yes, absolutely. Not used to these kind of Canadian-American transition altitudes being so high. I'll try my best to remember. Thank you very much for the tip and donation. Right, let me just try one more time. It did recognise the airway, but it won't let me put it in at Bouve. I really messed this up. Now this wouldn't happen. I shouldn't get two blank boxes like this. Right, what I'm going to do, guys, is just reset the FMC. And if that doesn't work, we'll go from there. So it shouldn't take too long to get back there. And again, there isn't a menu button for you to reset the FMC in real life. That's just a little trick with the mod, which is quite cool. CYVR. Crikey, you guys are being extremely generous today. Well, this has come in straight from Streamlabs. $4.99 from Generation Blowout. Thank you very much. $4.99, I should say. You inspire me as a fly student. Glad to have a sim streamer like you that flies in real life. I'm so glad I caught this stream time around. Well, thank you very much. Well, obviously quite late in the UK at the moment. It's currently just past 10:15 in the evening. So I don't often stream this late. So a few guys who don't usually get to see it live will be able to do it there. So a few people coming in. First, director Botag. Put it to via ZIBO Botag, not Vector, after Sid, then the airway. So this is, yeah, I mean, I'm just following what I do every single day. I'm going to just try that one more time. Departure. 17 right. That's what we said. And it's a BAMF 2. Route. So what we're going to do is put Boov in first and then the Vector. I can't remember which way. I mean, we wouldn't usually put it in that way and then the airway, but we'll see how it works that way. Potter coming in with 100. I think it's Swedish krona. Thank you very much for the tip of donation there. Love your streams. Did you go integrated or modular route? If you don't mind me answering. Well, absolutely not, sir. I went for the integrated way. This was back in 2000. What was it, 2009 I started my integrated course. Back then it was, I believe, preferred by the airlines. Nowadays it's certainly not. I was also funded by my parents who took a loan out to pay for my flight training, secured it against their property. It was very generous of them. And I only just finished paying off the bank loan about 3 or 4 years ago. So yeah, that's how I did it in a nutshell. I went integrated. But thank you very much for the tip and donation. Right, it's not... I don't know, I'm missing something. If I delete that, it didn't work. But that's how I'd enter it in real life. I put the airway point in first, then Boov. No, Botag. Everyone's saying Oh, guys, sorry, yeah, Botag. I'm not listening or concentrating at all. Now it should work. Oh my god. If it was because of that, I'm sorry. My goodness, guys, my apologies. My apologies. I was looking at Botag and not Boov. That's why I was getting confused there. Yeah, it's so tough to stream and explain what I was doing because I had in my head Boov is the point. That's why it wasn't entering there. Look at this. I'm going to get some banter basically coming in here. Botag. I got it, guys. Thank you very much. Right, that's good. We've got that direct Botag, Quebec 894 to Boov, and then it's a Canuck arrival, and we're going for 26 right, I think. Again, I have no experience whether that's the correct route there at all. Right, we'll execute that. That's looking sensible. We'll look at that on the way over to Vancouver there. Look at that. You missed Botag. I got it, guys. But yeah, appreciate that. Anyway, you guys are like my first officer. That's why I like these streams so much, because you guys really help out when the workload increases. Excellent. That took us a very long time to fill in there. Jacob McGregor tipping £5 right now. Best quote of Flight Deck to Sim. Don't drop the baby because of the stream. That is something I did say 5 minutes ago. By the way, I've got a PPL flight tomorrow, the PA-38. Wish me luck. PA-38. Oh, what is that? It's not... Well, Seneca's the 34. Is that... That's a big twin-engine aircraft, is it? I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember. Well, best of luck in your PPL flight here. Yes, lack of sleep, definitely. I got up again at 7 o'clock, which was 15 hours ago. I've been awake for 15 hours, guys, and now I am streaming. I'm crazy. I'm absolutely crazy. Another tip of donation coming in as well from Fonan Tank for £5. Thank you very much. You really are an inspirational. Oh, well, I wouldn't have said that myself. I'm just a flight sim guy who is now an airline captain who's gone back to his roots. That's all I am, guys. And as I tell my friends, or all my friends tell me, they find me being a pilot quite funny. They say I'm a glorified taxi driver, which is essentially my job. Excellent. Right, let's not get too much further sidetracked. Reserves today, what are they going to be? 2.3 tonnes. I'm going to use a cost index of 30. You guys must be bored of this. You've just been staring at an FMC for the last 10 minutes. The aircraft's a Tomahawk, of course. The Traumahawk, that's the one with the T-tail, isn't it? The aircraft you can never stall, or it's very difficult to stall. Or no, you can stall it, but it is very difficult to recover from a spin, isn't it? Those T-tails are a bit dodgy, aren't they? Excellent. Right, cruising at 360. Oh yeah, can't put the slash in the mod for some reason. There we go. Top of climb wind. That is 114 at 3 knots. If it's that, I'm not going to even bother putting it in. It won't even be worth it. -1 for the ISO deviation. Right, temperature. What is it right here in Calgary? Obviously, in the middle of the winter, it'd be freezing cold here. But right now, Current temperature is 17 degrees, nice and warm. Now, it's a stonking long runway here. I'm sure full 22k will be more than enough takeoff thrust. The usual flat 5 for departure will set the V speeds. Again, I've got no OPT performance to set, but full 22k will certainly be more than sufficient. Right, V2 is set. Right, FMC is finally loaded. There we go. Perfect. God Atom. I wish I could data pilot. Lol. Well, I'm not open for any dates at the moment. We're an interesting bunch nonetheless. Right, onto the upper overhead panel. Your dampers on. Nav transfer, display switches, and all normal and auto. Check that you've got a dim lights for the engine and spar valves there. I've got Skyrack coming in with a $1.99 stream. Thanks for streaming late enough for America. Well, I'm actually not in America, but certainly in that part of the world. But yes, we will visit the States and Canada again at some point in the future. We can pop the fuel pumps on. No fuel in the centre tank, so we can leave those pumps off. Working onto the AC/DC metering panel. Again, I don't routinely check any of these lights, but you want all the battery discharged, the transformer rectifier unit and the ELEC light to be off. Cabin utility, I think galley power's on. GPU's connected. Panel lights will turn this up as well. Lavatory smoke light, we don't have that fitted to our aircraft. Seatbelt sign is on. We'll imagine the cabin is secure for pushback. We test the attend button. Window heat we can now turn on. Engine anti-ice off. Electric hydraulic pumps already on. Left forward overwing. Interesting. Fingers crossed that's something that will go away. Someone's already jumped out. They read the review of Flight Deck to Sim Airlines. 1 star. Avoid at all costs. He's jumped out of the overwing exit. So we need to go to doors. Close. Hopefully that's done. Yeah, there we go. I remember having issues with the PMDG about that, but that seems to have fixed the issue nonetheless. Excellent. Right, we then need to check sure the cabin altitude represents the altitude outside, which it does. It's around 3,000 feet. Lolly forgot to execute. Yeah, this performance... there we go. Yeah, that's very good, guys. Excellent monitoring there. Now, that's because when I set up the mod here, I basically don't follow the guidance we do in real life. The performance is done completely independently. We take our time. Everyone's saying did I select the wrong runway for departure as well? 17 right. Yeah, I'm planning on 17 right for departure. That's what I'm planning. You enter 17 right, so 17 left for departure. Runway 26 for landing is okay, but 08 left is very nice, wind permitting. I'll have a look at that on the way, guys, regarding the landing runway. But do let me know, because I'm very unfamiliar with what we need to do there. Josh donated £5.84. Thank you very much. I'm a captain on the Beach 1900 and still play flight sim like yourself, hoping to find my way onto the 737 this year as well. Thanks for the enjoyable content. Well, thank you very much for the tip and donation. I understand maybe if you're in Canada or America, you need 1,500 hours perhaps to get onto the aircraft. I have no idea, but good luck getting onto the 7.3. In Europe, you get a lot less experience and hours required there. Kiwi flies 1 star what? Yeah, this is what it is for the Flight Deck to Sim Airlines. That's the review there. That was the review by the most recent Aviation Weekly format. Oh my goodness me. Right, anyway, I think I've done that all correctly. Now I'm really sidetracked. What was I doing? Performance was executed. We were on the up overhead panel, weren't we? Right, that's all good. Right, trim air can put on. And put the packs on auto. Flight altitude 360. I have absolutely no idea what the elevation in Vancouver is. I've got the charts available here. Now this is quite interesting. On my work EFB is right in front of me, guys, and it only has all the airports that, as I was saying a second ago, that my operator flies into, mostly in Europe, but it actually has both Vancouver and Calgary in the database. And the reason is, when we pick up the aircraft from Boeing, we have them delivered to Europe, we're not Oceanic or ETOPS approved, so they have to fly what they call the Blue Spruce route. So they have to go basically along Canada, Newfoundland, Greenland, Iceland, and then onwards into Europe. And I have all the airports and alternates there, so I actually have charts for Iceland, Newfoundland, Canada. I even have the Boeing airfield flights. What would be really cool one day, maybe for a celebration stream, if I can convince my other half and I have absolutely nothing else to do, we'll do a delivery flight from Boeing, Seattle, all the way to Europe, just as my operator does. I have all the guidance and paperwork regarding that, so that would be pretty cool to do. Anyway, again, we're getting massively sidetracked. I just want the elevation in Vancouver Where is the chart here? Elevation in Vancouver. Oh, it's sea level. There we go. I should know that, being on the sea. But so we'll leave that at 0. That was to be on steady. Right, so let's have a look at some charts and see where we are and everything like that. So, airports, Canada and Calgary. So, massive airport. Here we are. We're on this northern terminal here. Its stand is... Let me try and remember. I think it was stand 12 or stand 14 just here. Very short taxi for us in the stream, so I always kind of set it up that way. So we're going to go from here, Kilo Charlie for runway 17 right for departure, which will be nice and simple. Now, here's the SID. Now, I'm unfamiliar with SIDs in Canada and America and the like. It's like nothing I've quite seen before. There might be some departures like this in Europe, but essentially, you just climb on a heading, and then we'll eventually get to ourselves to boat tag. So I guess, reading all the notes here, initial climb 17 right for us, climb on heading 165 to 6,500 feet or as assigned, and climb to maintain 7,000 feet for vectors. So I guess, and this is only guessing, I'm sorry I can't give you much more accurate guidance than this, you climbed it up to 7,000 feet and then AC just vectors you en route as soon as traffic permitting they can do. So what we'll do, I'm going to set 165 on the heading and courses and set 7,000 feet. Again, unfamiliar with Calgary. All I have is information from the charts there. I've actually got friends that work for BA, and I'm sure I've flown into Calgary. I could have just rang them up and asked, but this was only planned about 24 hours ago. But yeah, I have quite a few people I can ask about certain questions into a few places. Right, so we've got the headings and courses set, flight directives on, order break to RTO, we need to set this to American Canada mode, so we press that I think, and it was 3013, I want to change slightly, inches of mercury, there we go, what did I say, 3013, there we go, perfect, so that's all set, FMC's low, I just want to fire up the APU, so we're going to be getting very... ready pushback very shortly. So FMC's loaded, working our way down here. So yes, you're happy with the SID. We'll look at the routing as well in a second. That's all set. What else did I want to... Oh yeah, I just wanted to put the ILS frequency up. For 17 right, so we've got some guidance. It is 109.3, so we'll put that as the active frequency. It's just something you don't have to do, but it's nice to have something tuned. You know, if something really was bad to happen after departure, you could just do a visual circuit onto the ILS on this one here. So it's better than nothing, let's say. So the ILS is tuned. That is India Echo Mike. FMC loaded. Nav aids are set, and that's pretty much it. Rudder and aileron trim as well. Right, APU is started. Let's just show you geographically where we are as well, which is quite cool. Here's our interactive Avitab map. We zoom out slightly. Ooh, zoom out a little bit too far there. It's going to be a fantastic flight, actually. I've downloaded all the Ortho 4XB. We're going to go westbound over the Rockies. Again, I'm very unfamiliar with Canada. I'll be offending several Canadian people if I mispronounce several of these places here. And then continuing onwards to Vancouver, not too far away from Seattle. There it is there. So it should be nice approach and flight in there. David Blanco, just remember that the Rockies are just west of you. Altitude at Beltag would typically be 9,000 feet or above. Well, we'll just maintain runway heading until we get above 9,000 feet, and then we'll continue en route. Yeah, I don't want to do an early turn. Actually, looking at the MSA, we wouldn't technically turn onto your departure routing until above the ATC unless you're under radar control. So just to show you here, if we find airports, did they show the MSA here? Well, you can see the sector safe here, 6,100, so you don't want to be turning in that direction until you're at least above your sector safe altitude. So that's very important that you always very aware of the terrain around you. Right, so FMC's loaded, APU should be available to put on the bus. There we go. And we can now disconnect the GPU. Right, better pushback. We'll get this all organised and set. Perfect. And we'll do something like this. Get ourselves onto the taxi line. That'll do us there. We'll pull onto the other stand and just be hopeful that no one's there. There we go.
Plan acknowledged.
That's it. And we'll request pushback as well. There we go.
Ground to cockpit. Tow is driving up.
Good. So I am on VATSIM, I'm just checking the radar, the VATSIM traffic radar, see if there's any ATC coverage. As I said, I was hoping to do this stream yesterday where there was full coverage. There does seem to be actually Vancouver ground on, or Vancouver approach, so that will give us someone to talk to as we get closer, which would be pretty cool. Perfect. There we go. Here comes the tug morphing out of the building. A pronunciation of Newfoundland. Did I say Newfoundland? Yeah, founder a type of fish. Oops. Newfoundland. Steve man, delivery flight. Be careful of your arrival airport. Might give away your operator.
Ready to
Might have to choose a different one, hey? Right, so I think we're all set. Anything I've forgotten, scream it out in the chat and I'll get back to you. Jeff Publicly, which ZIBO plane? This is version 3.0. Pablo Escobar, must one do physics to become a pilot? Is physics very important? Physics is fundamentally very important to aviation. I didn't study it in the UK at an A level from 16 to 18. I just didn't feel I had the ability at the time. I think I would have scraped through had I done it, but I actually did A levels, which I found a little bit more interesting, a little bit more. I think how I found better anyway. So yeah, physics important. I'd certainly, if you're of a younger age, get studying that, and maths certainly. Right, anyway, I think we're all ready to go, so we can put the air conditioning packs off, APU bleed on, anti-collision light is on, parking brake is set, transponder, we would now move to out, off. There we go. If I just go externally, it looks like we've got the whole of Calgary International Airport to ourselves. No one there at all, so we don't need to say anything on the text to say we're pushing back. Right, release parking brake, there goes the air bridge.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Excellent. Yeah, this scenery is pretty stunning actually for freeware, even though it was a bit of a nightmare to install. I accidentally installed the wrong file into the wrong place, which caused me to basically lose some of the scenery, and it took myself and, well, I didn't say myself, I got a lot of help from the members and the members only Discord. They helped me fix it last night instead of streaming, which is great, so I got to do this stream now. There we go, we're pushing back ahead of schedule, I guess. 10 what is the local time in Canada? 6 hours before Zulu, so 3:33, isn't it, here? Should be there, yeah, 3:33 local. There we go. Right, we'll just push back a little bit further before we start the engines. Stuart Walsh, I did a physics A level, hasn't helped me much, but I'd say GCSE is plenty as long as you have a good appreciation of it. That is the exactly what I should have said 2 minutes ago. The maths and physics level you need is no further, nothing beyond GCSE or the standard exams you take, I guess, what do you call it in America, not high school. You don't need to study it in college or do your A-levels in maths and physics, but it will certainly give you a better appreciation of it. I certainly, and I think now I look at A-level maths and physics, it's still well over my head, most of that stuff. Potter standing by for the A380 guy, yeah, no doubt. I'm quite surprised. I thought he actually lived by his computer, so I'm quite surprised he hasn't turned up yet. There we go. David Mubangizi, hello there. Hi there, new here. Are you a captain or first officer? What plane do you fly? I'm a captain, recently promoted of about what's it now? March. So what are we now? March, 2.5, 3 months ago. Fly the 737 is all I've ever flown. This is why I only ever stream in it, because if I was to fly anything else online, I'd probably crash it. There we go. Right, let's start the engine. Starting engine number 2. So if you look at the video description below, you'll find all the release notes with the final version. It's essentially an accumulation of all the little updates put together, and it's a brand new fresh download. So when ZIBO releases this 3.3 RC3 final, do not overwrite your existing version of the mod. Use this as a fresh install. Put it in your aircraft folder in your folder there, and then just all you got to do is copy and paste your preferences file. That's all you got to do. Preferences.txt, and that's it. You should be able to go there. Then you'll be flying the exact version I'm flying in this stream. Pavu Skulan, NADP 1 or 2 used to Calgary. That's a very good question. I haven't actually looked that up in the aerodrome information. I actually could have a look at now. Oh, I'm not concentrating. Oh my goodness me, I'm not concentrating at all here. Look, up for 15 hours, no fuel in. That's why he won't start the engine. There you go. David Mubanzi, do you fly short or long haul? Both. Just short, medium haul. There we go. Holding up everyone up in Calgary because I was late getting the fuel into the engine. Right, starter cutout, monitor engine number 2, 2, 4, 6, and 3. 2 is stable. Starting engine number 1. That's actually kind of like the perfect timing for starting the engine. You want to do it so just before your tug is released. You've just stabilised both the engines
So it's
there.
disconnected and bypass bin has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time.
I love it. Start
and
lever,
have a good
engine
flight.
fuel button. Yes, yes, yes. There we go, 25%. Some new Audio Bird XP sounds as well, but I don't know much more about that. What further things have been changed by Audio Bird XP, but there's some changes to the F-Mod sounds. There we go, that's starting nicely. So this is quite cool. One thing I want to do is take a picture of show you guys. This is the bypass here. You can actually see straight through the engine there. That's where the majority of the thrust comes from. It's not through the core like on a turbojet engine. It's all from the N1 fan and the bypass ratio. That's how the thrust is there. Perfect. Right, generators on, APU off. Start switches are in continuous probe heat on, anti-ice off, packs auto, isolation valve auto, APU bleed is off, that is all good. It helps if I get my joystick, it's still under my desk, and I'll just before I set the flaps, this is very much like I'm going to forget something there. Studio V21 donated £4.40, thank you very much, absolutely love your streams. Keep it up, mate. Greetings from Germany. Well, thank you very much, Studio V21, for the tip and donation there. We must do a bit more, a few more streams into Germany. In fact, I downloaded the Berlin Tegel Airport from Aerosoft, so we will go to Berlin at some point in the very near future. Right, joystick I now have right in front of me, as opposed to under my desk. We've got flaps required, 5. Green light. So we now need to do flight controls. Look at this, we've been streaming for 38 minutes, guys, and we've only just pushed back. That's because we've been chatting away. Blah, blah, blah. But it's good fun. I like doing it. It's very interactive. Gives you lots of opportunity to ask those questions. Alright, flight controls checked, rudders checked, recall, blank the lower DU, and now you'd read the before taxi checklist. Brilliant. Charlie Baker, what's the 246 thing you're doing on the startup? It looks like Peter Kula, who has been following me for some time, has answered the question for you. It's a nice little number acronym to remember to show you how the engines are stable. 20% N1, 400 degrees EGT, 60% N2, and 300 kilos per hour on the fuel. There we go. Right, so let's get on our way to Vancouver. Release the parking brake. And let's do a config check. No takeoff config warning, and up to about 35% N1, which is all you should really need to get to taxiing. Perfect. So, one thing I've actually noticed, I've not flown for 4 weeks, but actually just doing these little streams, I think this is the 5th stream we've done this month because I've been off. It's really been quite helpful just keeping with the flow and being up to scratch with what you need to do and stuff, so I probably won't be as rusty when I get back into the flight deck on Saturday. There we go. Oh, actually, I've not even reviewed the taxi routing. I know it's in this direction. I'm just going really as the crow flies. We'll just follow this Kilo Charlie for 17 right, as there is no one online. That should do us quite nicely. There it is. So it's a huge airport. No one around. Verrückter Pilot, I think you have to do frequently asked questions soon. A lot of questions keep coming every 10 minutes, like physics level required as a pilot, physics health required to become a pilot, where you did your API extra, etc. Yeah, I get a lot of those guys in, so I mean, I always like to stream in the environment of this aircraft so I can kind of show you what you're doing and stuff. There we go. So we can now do the before takeoff checklist, which is around the time we'd be doing it in reality. So config we've checked, flaps we have 5 green lights, stab trim is set for departure for the mod, yeah that's absolutely fine. Takeoff briefing, we've got the packs in auto, bleeds on, the V speeds set for departure, V1 of 139, VR 139, V2 of 144 set. The departure is the Banff 2, we're going to be climbing on runway heading 165 degrees, and then we'll climb up to, we'll say 9,000 feet, so I'll mention 9,000 feet before making our right turn en route to Botag. And big threat for me is don't set standard until above 18,000 feet, that's reviewed. There we go. cabin secure, checks complete. Just missed a tipper donation there from 505 Northman whilst I'm trying to taxi and turn at the same time. I hope you're doing well. I've got some income coming my way and was wondering if you got some ideas on what joystick I should get. I was thinking the X56. Dude, I'm not the guy you want to ask. I have absolutely no idea what the best joystick is. I have a 10-year-old Logitech Extreme 3D Pro. I think it's a very common joystick. For me, it's perfect for flight simming, and I compare that to the yoke of the real aircraft. For me, it's absolutely fine. I have no problem with it whatsoever. But anyway, thank you for the tip and donation nonetheless. Right, so, well, imagine we've got our takeoff clearance. Pop these lights on, strobes on. Auto throttle, LNAV, weather radar, transponder TARA doing the actions of the captain and the FO. That's all looking good. So MCP, that is set. Transponder is on TARA. Strobe lights are on. Landing lights are on. We have been cleared for takeoff, we shall imagine, for runway 17 right out of Vancouver. Now, there's been an update on the XRAS as well. So if you update to the latest version, you get the TCAS display. Or say TCAS display, you get the RAS display on the ND, just like in the real aircraft as well. There we go. I'm guessing this is a 60-metre wide runway. It's a flipping long runway anyway. Certainly don't need all of it. There we go.
On runway 17.
There we go. Right, so let's get the runway heading on the QDM. Make sure I've got my joystick. I need to move my rudder pedals back because in its current position, if I go full rudder, I whack it into my printer. There we go, guys. I hope you're ready. Flight time about 1 hour 5 minutes, so we should be touching around that time. Let's go on our way to Vancouver. So start the timer. Let's set the thrust up to 40% N1. Yes, the engine acceleration a little better than it was before. Let's push toga. There we go. N1 heading set toga. Set takeoff thrust. Looking for 94.1% N1. There we go. Takeoff thrust set indications normal. A little bit of right rudder I'm using now to maintain centre line.
80 knots.
That's checked. Release that forward pressure at 80 knots. Don't forget that. Neutralise the control column. Yes, nice long runway here. There's V1, rotate 2 to 2.5 degrees per second, nice and slow. Oh my goodness, I hope that's not from the real aircraft. I'll read that in a second, guys. Positive climb, gear up onto the flight directors and trimmer out. There we go. We are airborne. Oh my goodness, give me 2 seconds. I'll be right with you. There we go. Love that. I just love that view. I just love to be able to see that in reality. There we go. 1,000 feet. I'm going to imagine it's NADP1. I'm just going to engage command. So we'll accelerate the aircraft at 6,600 feet. Just so I can see who tips. It's Tom. Tom's always tipping a donation. My question is longer than 50 characters. Oh well. Oh my goodness me. Drop me a message. You always drop messages in and I'll get back to you with whatever your question is. Thank you. Perfect. So, again, very familiar here. It would be a vector, so it would display like this on the ND, and I guess you just get your routing director boat tag. I just want to get a little bit higher. We're going to set... Oh, let me get this right. It's not 15,000. You say 15,000. Is that correct? We were talking about this in Discord a second ago. So if you're in America or Canada, we're going to climb to 15,000 feet on the 3013. There we go. Oh, it's climbing a little bit sluggish, but no, maybe that's around right at our weight in this reduced climb for us, 88.2. So that's a 3,000 feet above aerodrome. We'll now bug up and accelerate the aircraft. Again, I just want to wait until we're above the minimum sector height for this direction, because I don't want to whack it into the side of a mountain. That would not be ideal. So we're going to wait until we're above at least 6,100. Someone said 9,000, so I haven't looked at the MSA. I haven't really... I'm completely unfamiliar with this area here. Right, we'll select flaps 1. And what will actually help us going, we'll select full climb, so we can delete the assumed thrust. There we go. full climb thrust is now set. That will help us get up a little bit quicker. And we can now select flaps up, and as soon as I'm happy, we're going to route direct to bow tag. There we go. There is our lovely Ortho 4XP, which caused me so many problems yesterday trying to get installed. Right, so flaps up, no lights. We can select VNAV. That'll get us to 250. I think we're going to be high enough to get ourselves to bow tag, so we'll bring that to the top. Execute, LNAVs engaged, round we go, and we can now do the after takeoff checklist. Using reserve fuel, I don't think so. That message does come up spuriously a few times in the mod. Right, gear to up and off, water brake to off, start switches to off, and we can pop off the taxi light now. So air conditioning and pressurization, diff pressure 2.2 psi, ducts looking good, temperatures are good, so that is all set. And altimeters, we've got the not QNH, inches of mercury set, passing 9,000 for 15,000 after takeoff for now. Checklist is complete. Perfect, and now we actually push this, and that releases the cabin crew at the operator I work for. There we go. And bye-bye Calgary. Ortho's just amazing. I can't believe how good that looks. Can you see the airport? Not quite. There it is, look. Perfect. Oh, someone's just logged onto that symbol. Just about see his text there. Right, so we're passing 10,000 for 15,000. Let's do the pre-cruise check. So fuel 4 pumps. We can pop off all the forward-facing lights. APU's off. Pressurization 3.0 psi. Now that is all set. We can release the passengers. Probably wouldn't do it as quick as that, having just released the cabin crew recall. And the pre-cruise checks are complete. Right, now let's go up to our cruise level, which no doubt is set as 360. In a bit of cloud, but the outside air temperature is still above 13 degrees. We're fine. True air temperature, I should say. Right, so final cruise level is set 360, set standard. There we go, passing 117, flight level 360. There we go. Millen Deckers, why do we put the gear lever to neutral? That's because the hydraulic system will remain pressurised, keeping the gear up when you don't need to. There's a couple of up blocks keeping it in place, so it just get rid of it there. Oh, clouds, look at that, that looks really good. These are just default clouds. I don't have anything installed, no plug-in there. That looks superb. That looks just like in real life. That is fantastic. Look at this. I'm such a privileged position. I'm really lucky, but I still get excited by the sim looking like this. I would have dreamt of clouds like that 15 years ago when I was simming all the time. Fantastic. 505 Northam, what source was used for that Ortho? Bing Maps. I use Bing for all of my Ortho 4XP. There we go. So, very unfamiliar with where we are geographically. I've not even had a chance to have a look. All I know is that we're heading southwest. Hopefully we'll get some views of the Rockies. Get rid of all this. And airport. No, we'll get rid of that for now. And I want the map. There we go. So I can just see where we are. So, approaching the foothills of the Rockies. How's it going there? Tom Joseph, set standard at 18,000. Now, this could be operator specific, and again, we don't fly in America or Canada, so I don't know. But our operator, as soon as you've been cleared to a flight level, regardless of the transition altitude, you set standard straight away. So we're just following the guidance there. I've got Jordan Sabat coming with a $1.99 tip donation. Thank you very much. Is Ortho free? Absolutely, it's completely free. And what I will do for you is send you a link from a YouTuber. He's called Luna's World. I don't know him personally, but it's by far the best tutorial on getting you set up for Ortho 4XP. I actually had someone called Richard Alsberg, really nice chap, help me install it. But this is the one I follow whenever I want to download tiles. Now, there's been a few changes, but if you read the comments section of this video, which I'm sending a link to, it gives you a bit more up-to-date information of what to do when you use this. But that's how you get set up on Ortho 4XP. Very useful tutorial. There we go, so overhead bow tag. Now, there's been a lot of fixes with the so the aircraft, look at that, it's turning far more accurately. I mean, the you see the waypoint there, it doesn't usually get itself off the magenta line. It should be bang on it, but it's at least turning at the correct time. I think we had a few issues with turning a little bit early. Kim, wow, that's a weird policy for setting standard. Well, I can understand why we do it at that point. The reason is we're climbing so fast, we have such low transition altitudes in Europe. Level bust is something you just don't want to do. So if you've been cleared, let's say the transition altitude is 4,000 feet, and you're at 3,000 feet, you've been cleared to flight level 60. If you're climbing at 3,000 feet, you've only got a minute to get your standards set. Now, if you've got a very big difference in QNH from standard, say 1013 or 29 and 902, I should say, as we're in America, if you're 20 hectopascals out, that's a huge amount. That's 1,000 feet difference in altitude. So the sooner you set standard, or as soon as you set QNH and you clear to it, that's fine. Now, if you've been told to stop at altitude, you just set QNH again. But that's unlikely. So yeah, we just always set the policy of set standard immediately. Again, we're in Europe, so the transition altitude isn't as high as 18,000 feet. So it's probably that's why operators don't use that then. Again, I have very little experience of operating in this part. I have no experience in operating in this part of the world. Well, so far so good. This is an untested version of the mod. ZIBO literally only sent this to me 10 minutes before I started streaming. No one's even tested it apart from himself, so far so good. There we go. Cannot see anything. Ooh, looking pretty. It would be a shame if it's cloudy the whole way, which is looking like it could be. Yeah, that's fantastic. I like flying over the Alps, so I guess this will be a kind of geographical equivalent. I've got a £1 tipper donation coming in. I can only guess from China. I'm very wrong if it's not China. I'm sorry if it is, but thank you nonetheless. Jordan Sabbath saying thank you. You're most kind. You didn't have the tip to donate to say thanks, but I appreciate it nonetheless. $1.99. Thank you.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Daniel Kirk, wouldn't a yoke be better in case your hand gets too used to a joystick? I should be fine. I should be fine. You just get used to flying with both. I mean, there are limitations in a desktop simulator. There always will be, from the real aircraft, the yoke, and a joystick. But they're different enough for me to not be familiar with one or the other. You have aircraft pilots can be type rated on different aircraft, no doubt. A lot of operators. I don't have my SCP rating on my ATPL anymore, so I don't fly light aircraft. But plenty of people do. You just you don't lose sensitivity for one or the other. Right. Well, there's the clouds just redrawing themselves. We are on live weather, of course, as we fly over Mount. What does that say? Ars in Boyne. Mount Ars in Boyne. I completely mispronounced that. My goodness. Rick Newand, what's new in this update of ZIBO? If you scroll down the video, look at the video description, you'll see the release notes, which will come out when ZIBO releases this mod later on there. Oh, here he is. Didn't take long. Oh, actually, didn't take long. Mate, where you been? 54 minutes. That is really bad. Usually you're much on the ball. They must have been away from his computer this evening. Oh, dear me. That is a record. 100% of the last FatSim live streams. I've messaged a few people from FatSim. They said they're doing stuff. I haven't heard anything back, so... and I haven't had the time to look into IVAO well, I could probably go on the Pilot Edge network. That's in America, isn't it? Or this part of the world, so maybe I could have done that. Yeah. Jamie Wallace, one thing I notice in the mod is trying to set an assumed temperature on the M1 page. It tends to remove the thrust. Am I missing something? So long as you've got an outside air temperature set and an assumed temperature, it should show you the N1 regardless of what you set there. So, not sure. I've not seen that issue myself, but yeah, could be an issue. Oh yeah, that does sound slightly different. Can you hear that, guys? Maybe that's what AudioBird XP has changed. That's definitely sounding different to what I'm used to. I wouldn't know. I've never stood outside of a 737 whilst it's flying at 450 knots ground speed. Anyway. Kieran McGill, I read your mind. Show us the outside. Joshua Briscoe, did you upset someone a while back? Are you referring to this this prankster? He is a prominent prankster. I've been hearing. He spams several streamers, for flight sim streamers. He's always around. Oh my goodness, Carl Sangri, every single stream, god damn it. $25, thank you very much again. Late as usual, I had to pick up my canine. I wanted to donate 1,500. Well, you don't need to do anything like that, but could not figure out how to donate in rupees. Oh, there you go. Thank you very much again, Carl. Carl's one of my members. Also has a beautiful dog. I have a Labrador, for those of you new to my streams, who often pops in. In fact, if you are interested, Jack the Labrador he's sleeping right behind me right now. He's 2 foot behind me, completely ignoring me. It's probably my monotonous voice which has sent him to sleep, like half of the people watching my stream. Carl, thank you very much again. Very generous and completely unnecessary. Thank you very much. Right, bank angle set to 10 degrees as we are above flight level 300. Club 7, you're en route to Manchester from La Rochelle. Excellent. I did stream into La Rochelle. Oh, when was it? A few months back now. That might have even been last year. I can't remember. We did the circle to land into La Rochelle. David Blanco, there we go. Got the jacket. That is actually him. That is Jack. Anthony, to wake up. I'm not waking up the dog. Actually, for those members of Discord, I'm gonna take a picture of him right now so you can see him. There you go. And I'm uploading it so you can see him right now as I'm streaming, which is pretty cool. Joseph Enriquez, any big differences between ZIBO and the real 737? I've flown the PMDG, don't get me wrong, and I have a lot of credit and respect for those guys. They've made a brilliant aircraft, probably from a procedural point of view the best simulator you can train here. But from a pure enjoyment and real life experience and how the aircraft flies true to its real form, the ZIBO mod is by far one of the best handling aircraft in the simulator. And I've said this probably over 100 times during my streams, because obviously it's quite a common question, but I don't say that because I'm part of a testing team. It truly is. That is why I switched from PMDG to ZIBO just over a year ago, because I loved what the ZIBO was doing and the little team he's got around him, and to see that if you look at the first ever ZIBO mod tutorial I did compared to what we're flying today, the amount of work and effort and time that's gone into this is phenomenal. To get an aircraft which, well, I've flown with a few FOs who are into simming as well, and they're flying the ZIBO mod now because they go, wow, it handles brilliantly. So yeah, that's why I switched to it. And yeah, also yeah, as Yo2615, the NGX is in need of an update. It is 7 years old now too. Right, let's upload a picture of Jack. There we go. Right, so approaching flight level 360 as we approach waypoint Binvo. One to go. Ryan Neil, why is 10 degrees bank angle set at flight level 300? I believe the 737 can still do high bank angles even at that altitude. Is it for comfort? I'll get back to you 1 second, because I just want to say thank you very much to J Holler91 for becoming a member. Thank you very much for directly supporting the channel. You'll be invited now automatically to the members only Discord, and I have to say to all the members I already have, because I always feel really guilty, because I'm not a frequent streamer. I can't give back as much as a member as, say, another streamer would. I don't stream as often, but I do appreciate the support. You get the little Discord to chat. We've got some great guys there. You get a lot more insight. I'm always on it, well, as often as I can be, to help you answer your questions. So I thank you very much for the support and dedication nonetheless. Now, to get back to that question regarding setting the bank angle, the reason we set this to 10 degrees is because heading select has no angular bank protection. So if you were to go to heading select and turn on to heading here, no matter what you have set here, the aircraft will bank at that. Now, if you're above your optimum level, close to your maximum cruise level, you can run into issues if you increase your bank angle, because if you increase your bank angle, you're increasing the G loading, and you're getting yourself close to something called Mach buffet, and that's where let me try and get this right, some part of the airflow of the wing goes supersonic, where you lose lift, increase your stall speed, you could die, which is not what we want to do. So LNAV has automatic bank angle protection, so LNAV will automatically and safely bank up to a safe limit or predetermined limit. Now, how much that does it in the mod, to an accurate degree, I have absolutely no idea, but in the real aircraft, certainly LNAV will bank well above 10 degrees. It can do up to 25. It won't go more than 30. but it will do so ensuring that it never gets beyond its critical angle, no matter what altitude you're at. So yeah, that's why we set it to 10 degrees, so whenever we get a vector, we always limit the bank angle to that amount, so we don't get any dodgy Mach buffet events or high-speed stall, high-speed buffet. Josh Jenk, are you planning on reconnecting to VATSIM? We'll see. If there's no 80 coverage, no. If there is, yes. But as soon as it comes up, I'm just not messing around. I just log off. It's just easier. It's a shame, great shame, because it's ruined the experience for pretty much everyone, and you can't enjoy the AC and the kind of like real life interaction you get. But that's just at the moment I don't have the time in between streams to get to the bottom of it and try and fix it and stuff. I've emailed a few people in VATSIM, but they've said yeah they're finding something, but why do they need to fix it? Because it's only just myself or only streamers issues. You know, for every other user it's not an issue. But anyway, never mind. We'll see. Right, what are we now? How far are we till top of descent? 164 miles. So in about 10 minutes we'll start looking to the approach there. Now, what you guys could do for me, again, because I'm not sure about Vancouver, if you can find out what runway they're landing on, or if there's a preferred approach and arrival, geographically you want to see something, that would be pretty cool. Someone mentioned it's quite nice to go over the bay or something there. Reese Farrell, does he get banned and makes new accounts? Something like that, I don't know. He's prominent, that's all. Right, a lot of high terrain here as well. I've no idea what the minimum en route safety altitude is. What? VAT Shield, try VAT Shield. Now, I did actually get someone message me saying something about VAT Shield, but I absolutely trust this guy implicitly, and no doubt it's something that's fine, but he wanted me to download this thing and this, and I had no idea who it was, so I want to see something that, if it's available publicly for everyone and you could download it, I'll happily download it, but I don't want anyone messaging me personally saying, oh, I've got this will help, download this. I'm not going to use it. I don't know who you are, so I'm a bit nervous and savvy about these sort of things online. Anti-tail, they're showing 26 right, but landing on 08 is going to be more scenic. Tom Knudsen, just log on with the remark of the spam and have AT contact you on voice. I put that, and actually, if you look on VATSIM and look at the flight plan, you can see in the notes section, I'm frequently targeted for spammers. So actually, I could actually do that. Close the text box, so I had it set to one line, and go from there. And just hope he doesn't come back. Oh, it is a Qantas 380. Oh dear. Ben Stratford coming in with tip of donation. Thank you very much. Love your streams. If possible, please see my Instagram message. Alright, well, I'll take a look at that after the stream. I get a lot of messages on everything. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, comments. I do not have time for all of them these days. I used to, but not now. But generally, Instagram messages, I do drop messages. I'll have a look for you post-stream. Thank you nonetheless for notifying me via tip of donation. Actually, I was just checking on my phone, chaps, the VATSIM map. There we go. Yeah, well, they've got the ATC in. Oh, look, I've just left and they've actually got ATC at Calgary now. Calgary grounds online. So, well, you know what, I'll try logging back on. And what I will do. Plugins. We've got Scorebox Connect. Private. So here I'm back on. If he starts spamming, I'll just close the text box and hopefully I can push F11 and pick up a frequency as we get closer. But they should be able to see in the text box information. Well, in my flight plan that I have issues anyway. Scenery looks beautiful. It does. Look at this. Oh, apart from that ortho tile, but I'm guessing there was no visuals for that. Let's actually look at the other window. Yeah, looks pretty good. Let's try and find a bit where there's no scenery issues. There we go. That looks fantastic. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, that looks like the Sahara Desert there. Yeah, those sounds. Yeah, Audio Bird XP has changed those sounds. Well, if you want a hot air balloon, that's what you would see. Outstanding. Jim Jack, is this update out? It will be post-stream. Tom, do that. If he comes back, at least your viewers do not see his lame ass spam text messages. It's not a specific user saying this, it's a computer programmed script. Oh, crikey. Yeah, someone mentioned that actually. Guys, so if you're new here, I am very computer illiterate. I don't know anything about computers. I'm a guy that plugs and plays, fires it up. I don't know anything about them. I don't know what scripts are. I don't know what C++ is. I know it's to do with program. I literally nothing. So yeah, I have to get a lot of help from people. Captain Kriggles, is this Ortho 4XP? Yes, it is. All right. So, well, if there is actual ATC coverage here, probably we'll base it off whatever they're using. So I'll probably base it off the real world runway, which is we've planned for 26 right. Just see what frequencies are like. They've got ground and approach. And what I'm going to do is put approach on standby, the frequency for that. Which I can look on the VATSIM map. Put 128.6. Actually, I should be on 122.8 now, shouldn't I? Unicom, I completely forgot about that. 122.8, and we'll put the approach frequency on standby, which is 128.6. There we go. So if we get closer, we can contact him in that way. There we go. Brilliant. We've got a tip and donation coming in from Brian Kruger. Thank you very much. £7.86, one of my members. What airline do you work for? Just kidding. This donation is not for you. It's for your dog. Buy the good boy a nice treat or new dog or new toy. Okay, if you're done, I will go tomorrow. And what do we have here in the UK? We have a, well, what is it called? My mind goes so blank. It's like, oh, I've completely forgotten the big brand of dog, like dentist sticks or whatever it is. I'll go and buy him one of those, and I'll even take a picture and send it to you. You have to remind me anyway. Thank you very much nonetheless. That will go towards Jack, no problem. Low frequency oscillator ring modulator at you in the Mile High Club. Negative. Even if I was, would I admit such a thing? Outstanding question. Look at that scenery. Look at that. Mega. Yeah. If I'm honest, if I was in the real aircraft right now, I'd be doing precisely this. I'd be kneeling my chin on there, looking outside, staring out the window. As my teacher said at school, you'll never achieve anything looking out the window. That's exactly what I do now. Pets at home. Pedigree. That's what it is. Is it Pedigree Chum? I can't remember this. Brian Kruger. My dogs eat dentist sticks too. They're great for teeth. We'll get him. Actually, my Jack's chipped one of his teeth annoyingly, so we have to keep an eye on him at the moment. Anyway. Right, so what I'm going to do, as we're approaching top of descent, we shall start thinking about the approach. And I said we will plan on 26 right. We'll see what approach gives us as we get closer. Can't see any 80s frequency there. So, 240 below 10,000. We'll just set that to 250. It doesn't like me doing that. There we go. I probably won't bother with the forecast winds because, again, it's so light. Top of descent, yeah, that 14 knots, 17 knots. It's not much point. I'm not even going to bother putting the descent winds in. It's pretty quiet there. QNH, what? QNH. What is the inches of mercury? My terrible American Canadian accent. Aero weather. Here's my app. So in Vancouver, the inches of mercury are 29885. I hope that's correct. 29885. Now, does the mod let me put that in, I wonder? 2985. Nope. Nope. I have no idea why. I guess, is that correct? 2985? It sounds about right. Don't know how you put that in the mod, though. Anyway, we set 2985 inches of mercury in the most important place, which is there. We've also got to set the arrival forecast QNH. Oh, forecast QNH. I'm so used to saying that because basically, that's all I've ever set in my life is a QNH, not an inches of mercury. Right, start into Vancouver. It's going to be a Canuck 4, so let's get that on our chart here. Home, Avi tab, and we want not charts, even though it is a chart. It is Charlie Yankee Victor Romeo. Right, lots of information there. So, arrival, we said it's going to be a Canuck 4. There we go, Canuck 4 arrivals for 26 left, 26 right, and we are planning on 26 right. Which, if I go to airports and back, and it's under arrival. No, that's not arrival, approach. And we're looking for ILS 26 right. There we go. So that's the approach there. And I just want the airport airport info taxiing. That's fine. I've got a far more detailed up to date chat here. All right. I've got Captain Canada here in the chat as well. Welcome to you. I'm sure most of you are Captain Canada watchers. He streams 4 times a week. It's his full-time job there. So keep an eye out for his streams. Yeah, I'm in your home country. Fantastic. Try 2985 for the inches of mercury. I'll try that in a second. 2985. Oh, dots. Again, this is maybe that's what you have to put in here. I've got so many tips and donations coming in as well. Oh my goodness, 29.85. No, it doesn't like that either. I've absolutely no idea how to put inches of mercury into the FMC. Right. Couple of tips and donations coming in. Some I probably missed. Freckles Aviation, £2. Thank you very much. What is the funniest ATC interaction you've had? I've had loads. I remember once when I was line training 8 years ago. There's a waypoint in the UK called Stoat, S-T-O-A-T, and I was line training, quite new on the radio. And I said to him, I misheard him, and I said, "Oh, can you just confirm the waypoint? You know, because Stoat." He was like, "Yeah, Sierra Tango Oscar Alpha Tango. You know, the little furry animal." And I was like, "Okay." And everyone on the frequency was like, "Yeah, the furry animal." British Airways pilots get a lot of banter as well, because they often speak very well, pronounce everything there, so they get a lot of banter. But yeah, that's something that came to my mind. Freckles Aviation, thank you. Kim, one of my members, coming in with a €5 donation. Thank you very much. I hear pedigree jumbone is really healthy. Yeah, no doubt not the best thing for the dog, but we'll get him that anyway. /2985, is it /2985? My goodness, you wouldn't put, I mean, I've never had to put in inches of mercury. /29.85. Hooray, we are in. Excellent. Probably makes no difference in the mod nonetheless. Right, so let's have a look at this arrival, the Canuck 4 via Booth. So we're going to go Vitev Stave. Vitev Stave. We've got a in between 12,000 and above 9,200. And then we're going to go GoPad, Mogus, Obtot. They're all in there with the respective restrictions. GoReg at 3,000. I don't want to be at 3,000 feet in GoReg. That's going to keep me very low. So we're going to put that at or above for the CDA there. Noah Featherston, you have to put /2985 for the altimeter setting. I'm sorry I had to get to the point of you tipping and donating to basically get for me to see that there. But nonetheless, thank you. I did find that elsewhere, but thank you nonetheless. Perfect. Right. The inches of mercury in, that's all in. So I put 3,000 feet or above, just to make sure that we can do a bit of a continuous descent there. We're going to land on 26 right. Let's put my fixings in for situation awareness, and let's see at what point we are going to be at. Plan. Zooming in here. I'm just going to follow the planned arrival because this is a flight plan filed on VATSIM. GoRag Totim. So GoRag is, or GoReg is at around, what's that, 15 miles at about 3,000. 230 knots is fine, so we'll leave that descent speed as it is. Planned to be at 230 knots below at that point there. Right, so that's all set. Let's look at the ILS. Missed quite a few questions here as well. Matthew Schmidt, hello. This is pretty late compared to usual, isn't it? Yes, it is currently 11:15 in the evening. I was meant to do this stream last night on a VATSIM event by VATSIM Canada, but I had problems with my Ortho 4XP. Instead of doing a 2-hour stream, I had 2 hours of trying to fix the problem. And it was 1 o'clock by the time I finished. No way am I going to start streaming at 1 o'clock in the morning UK time. So yeah, I'm having a bit of a late one. My partner has to get up at very early. She's working. from 3:30, so it gave me the evening off to be able to stream this evening. So yeah, that's why we are here. Excellent. Right, that's the star discussed. Let's have a look at the ILS then for 26. Right, this is when I've briefed everything and we're not going to have it. So we've got 11195. That's the important one. There we go. 11195. What's the missed approach based off here? Oh my goodness, what have I done there? It says climb on heading, and the hold missed approach hold is based off Vancouver 292 radial. So we'll put 15.9 on standby. There we go. 15.9. And courses are 263.
50, 40, 30,
And that
20,
is now
10.
set there. Another tip coming in. This time from Rayan Nihal, donated £2 for Super Chat, thank you. Get some food from Tim Hortons. No Greg's there. I've no idea what you're referring to, but I'm guessing Tim Hortons is the Greg's alternative in Canada. That's what would be the logical explanation there, but I'll take that into account. But I will probably spend that tip of donation in Greg's prior to my next duty. I'll get myself a sausage roll. Thank you very much. Right, inbound courses are set. Runway heading will be the same as that one's match heading here. Right, 263 height check at Totim 1520. Refer to the minimums. At the bottom of the chart, category C aircraft, we are ILS DME. Ooh, this looks different to what I'm used to. What's this, 26 or half? Is that statute miles? I think they refer to it as statute miles in Canada, yes. But this will do. Category C, ILS DME, ILS radar, glide slope out. That'll be a localizer. Well, let's set ILS DME 209, 201. That would probably be the correct one. The charts are very different to what I'm used to, and again, I'm not a long haul operator, so I don't I never fly out of Europe, so it's all different charts, different phraseology, different statute miles, heights, meters, all change. In Europe or in the UK, we're broken. We use a mixture of both. We use kilos for the fuel, but we fly in feet. We set hectopascals, inches of mercury, all very different. So minimums, that'll do 209 set. Right, so very simple approach. ILS straight in, no terrain issues around Vancouver. All looks pretty good here. Performance here, 3,000 meters. First high speed exit's Mike 4, so I'll aim for that. Mike 6 available, and then taxiing from then onwards. Actually, that reminds me, I've got a printout of the taxiway chart in front of me, so I can use that whilst taxiing in there. And that's it. So performance wise, definitely flat 30. That should be fine today. 62 tons, 2.6. So we're going to burn another, what's that, 3.3. 700 kilos, landing with 61.2 tons. Flat 30 speed, VREF 143. We'll plan to fly 148. Order brake 2. That should do us. Again, I don't have the OPT performance here at this airport. There we go. Checks complete. Hand over controls from PM to PF, and then you would read the descent checklist. Outstanding. Right, I'm just checking the VATSIM map again, which is my unfamiliar way of checking things here. Oh, I've got someone behind me. Cool, they're probably flying into Vancouver as well. Right, we've still got Vancouver 80, so that should be pretty interesting. Tim Hortons. What is this Tim Hortons thing? I've never heard of it. Oh, there we go. Steve Man. What's the oldest cadet you've ever had? Seen on an EasyJet documentary, aged 47. I nearly fell over. Cadet. So when I was in the sim instructing new cadets on the type rating, as in fresh from flight training, mid-30s. I think I've had some guys mid-30s, not as old as 47. That is, well, good for him though, I have to say, to be dedicated to have a career change like that. Guys on transition courses, so these are guys who have left another airline to come work for the airline I work for. That's what we call a transition type rating, or an operator conversion course, if they're familiar with the 737. I've taught guys 60, 61, 62 years old, just for kind of like a last career change. Yeah, as old as that I've taught, so it can be interesting because, you know, most guys are very respectable of your age. I mean, when I was instructing, before I was a captain, I was a first officer, 2,500 to 3,000 hours at the time when I was in the sim, and I was sometimes instructing and teaching people twice my age with 15,000 plus hours, and most people are very respectful of the fact you're an instructor, but it can be a bit, you know, cockpit gradient, you're instructing someone, they can be not so willing to listen perhaps, but most people don't have that problem if they're very, very respectful. David Blanker, Tim Hortons is our major coffee donut franchise. I've learned something new. I say I learn something new every day. I've learned something new about Canada. They have something called a Tim Hortons. If I ever visit Canada, I will make sure I will go to Tim Hortons. Oh, they've got a Tim Hortons in Manchester. And in Birmingham and Belfast. It's made landfall in the UK, I see. I'll have to go find it out. Crowell pilot. On my flight school, we have a student who is 53 studying ATPL to go commercial. Wow, that is well, good for him. Good for him. Jared Fighter, I was 44 when I was a cadet on Dash 8. Well, there you go. Yeah, I mean, certainly. I don't know about American Canada so much. In Europe, there's certainly still a need for pilots. I mean, the airline I work for, they're major recruiting everyone from new cadets to we need everyone: captains, first officers, new cadets, experienced pilots, as do many operators in Europe. So I'm guessing the same as well. Right, so yeah, it's been flipping cloudy the whole way. We haven't been able to enjoy. We had some nice views of the Rockies, but I'm guessing someone actually mentioned in Discord that it's often cloudy over the Rockies this time of the year. Jim Bobolief 33. Do we see the ZIBO coming out of RC releases? Yes, this version I'm flying right now should be available as soon as the stream is over, and it's an accumulation of all of the latest small releases. It's 3.3.0, so it's the final version. 2's finished, this is 3.0, and so far so good. It's been flawless, really has. Right, so top of descent, reset MCP altitude, so we would request descent here. So some people reporting issues of it losing its cruise altitude and telling it to update early, but I haven't had that issue so far. And let's just go for flight level 200 initially. There we go. And VNAV is coming there. We should see this go to retail arm. There it goes. Perfect. Javier Habir, can you do a shared cockpit with Captain Canada? Absolutely. I mean, I've always, so far to this day, have always said, oh, I want to be kind of solo and stuff, but we need to branch out, look at our horizons. But at the moment, pretty much flying solo. I'm happy with that. No doubt I'll speak to him at some point and organise something. But he does that full time. I have not got the time for this, and it's a great sadness to say that my month off finishes in 5 days' time. I'm back to work on Saturday, and I'll be lucky to stream every week and a half, 2 weeks, really. Certainly for the next 6 months at least, because if you're new here, unfamiliar, when I did my command, as part of that process, you get a new base, and you're flown there. Now, I managed to get a UK base, which is very lucky to do. I worked in the sim, it had a bit of help with me getting a UK base there. So I'm based in the UK still, but it does mean I have to commute to work from where I live now. It's quite a drive for me. I actually have to sometimes catch a flight as well. So my first and last day off is commuting, which leaves me only 2 or 3 days at home to do everything else, you know, catch up with my partner, see my friends, do all the other things I have to do in life before I get to live stream. Now, I love doing this. Whenever I get some spare time, it'll be the first thing I do. So if I get some extra days booked off, we'll be able to get some other streams. We'll see what we can do. Anyway, I just missed a donation there. That was from KJodge, who donated £1.51. Thank you very much. I do not often have the opportunity to catch you live. I would like to thank you very much for all that I've learned from you. Thanks. Well, you are most welcome, and thank you very much for the donation, telling me of how grateful you are. Thank you very much. There we go. Right, so passing flight level 300, set the angular bank back to 25 degrees. What we're just going to do up here is course, there's no problem. Set this here to 5, and if we get any messages coming in, we should be able to see something. Ghost Fire, why is the N1 idle way higher in higher altitudes than lower altitudes? Now, this is controlled completely by the EEC. Tim Fraser, who is the person who's behind the flight mod of this aircraft, has gone to great lengths to simulate the correct N1 value, or idle N1 value. It's loosely based off the real aircraft there, and it's completely controlled by the EEC, and it sets an idle N1. Also, if you select flaps, it goes to approach idle. If you put the engine anti-ice on, it goes to higher thrust idle as well. And that's all modelled pretty true to the real aircraft. So, actually, why it does it, 100% couldn't give you the correct reason. It's controlled by the EEC completely autonomously. It's I guess to ensure that the engine temperatures are correct to get the right sufficient thrust. But yeah, ground idle after you've landed, it's about 20% N1. So the thrust is completely closed here. On the ground, it's 20%. In flight, it's slightly lower. Right, drag required, that is correct. That is because we are a few knots fast, about 16, that's fine, we'll accept that. If you go any quicker, parasitic drag comes into force, stop you from going any faster. Right, what have we got here to run? So approaching 25,000 feet, so 75, about 80 miles to run, and we're on profile. We've got 77, that's pretty good. Looks like we might be able to do a sort of continuous descent here into Vancouver. Rita, do you ever time engine cool down? Yes, 3 minutes after landing. We cannot shut the engines down for 3 minutes after touchdown. So that's it for cooling of the engine cool down. What it exactly does if you shut it down sooner, I don't think the odd time would do any long-term damage, but I think if you routinely do it, it probably wears parts out there. But yeah, we have to wait 3 minutes. FIFA Beast, how do you plan step climbs? Well, the Lido operational flight plan, which you can actually access from SimBrief, but in real life, step climbs are automatically planned based on several factors. It could be airspace congestion, it could be a more favourable tailwind or a less favourable headwind. Sometimes we even descend, but we don't routinely always step climb. Generally we do. Generally we go higher as we fly en route because we get lighter. The higher you go, the more fuel efficient it is. But if there's a stonking headwind or a tailwind not quite as strong as is a lower level, we fly lower. Matty Lily04 really wants to become a pilot, worried about the cost and exams and failing. Any tips? I'm only 15. Yeah, you always worry about that. I'm just going to set a lower altitude here, buddy, anyway, and set the local inches of mercury. Let's go down to 13,000 feet, set that, which is, I think, 29885, and then we'll go from there. Yeah, I mean, I was very worried about that through that whole training, but academically, I don't think I'm the most academic person, never was at school, but I did enough, and when I worked through my flight training, I put 110% in, and as long as you met all the aptitude tests prior to flight training school, which is kind of like the ballpark of what you need to be able to do, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. But don't set your heart on it. When I was 17 to 20, even free flight training, you really, it's hard to do it, but you cannot. You got to always think, if this doesn't work, what am I going to do? And I certainly did. I always said, right, if I lose my medical, if this happens, if I don't get through, what am I going to do? And I always wanted to do something in the law-wise. I mean, I studied law at A-level, and I got an A for it, so I got the highest grade you could for law, and I've always been interested in law, so that was kind of like a backup career. I go to university and do that, but I had my heart set on this, did the work, and it paid off. Do I count myself lucky at the time when I got my job? Absolutely. But I put it more down to the amount of effort and hard work I put in. I absolutely worked my socks off. It was a tough year and a half for me, but well, look at it now. I'm streaming on my free time to you guys, going back to what I love, which is flight simming, which is cool. Right, so approaching 17,000, pop the seatbelt sign on. I think usually when you get to around 50 miles from the airport, which is coming up here I think that's the time you roughly contact approach. I have no idea. We do have the approach frequency on standby, ready. So hopefully he'll give me a nudge. Oh, look at that. Please contact me on 128.6. Ah, right, clear my throat, guys, as we talking to here. Probably get a completely different approach and landing runway into Vancouver. Vancouver arrivals, very good afternoon. Broadsword 01, we're descending to 13,000 inbound to Vitev. Our speed is 284 knots.
Broadsword 1, Vancouver arrival. Good afternoon. Squawk 0757.
Squawk 0757, Broadsword 01. Perfect. 0757. There we go, 0757 is in. Oh, it's nice to use that call sign. Cool, look at that, you don't want to hit the side of that. That's why you respect altitudes and stuff. So, what I'm going to do, actually, what's the clearance on this SID for the initial altitude? It's be at or below 12,000, so we're going to set that now, and then hopefully he'll give us further clearance there.
Broadsword 01, Vancouver arrival. Welcome on board, descend 9,000.
So 9,000, Broadsword 01. 9,000, love it. That is set. 9,000.
Broadsword 01, altimeter 2985, expect RNAV runway 26 right.
2985 and RNAV 26 right, Broadsword 01. We could do the RNAV, no problem. I would request the ILS in reality, but it'll probably be no tammed out. But all we're going to do, departure arrivals, RNAV 26 right, and execute. Ooh, right, Pemsu or Sudas, I'm not sure. We'll pop that in there. That's left us a little bit high, so I'm just going to go vertical speed 1,000. I know it's left us high, but I just want to bring the speed back to 230, like we should be doing right now, not 300 knots. And then we'll sort out the vertical profile there. So there's no discontinuities. It looks like we're coming straight in. We've still got 3,000 feet or above. Now we just need to look at 26 right on the chart here. Now this is going to really increase my workload.
57 Vancouver Terminal, squawk 0774.
There we go. And close that. Oh, where is it? My workload is going over the roof. Tick, tick. Approach. This is where your FO comes in very handy, or pilot monitoring, I should say. RNAV GNSS 26 right. There we go. So you check all those RNAV points. Courses are the same. We'll leave the ILS tuned anyway. Gives us something there. And the minimums now. What's the LNAV VNAV minimum? 633. So we'll set 640. That's about it. Now, in reality, you'd go into much more detail. Explaining like how you're going to fly it, what mode you're going to use, etc., etc. But in the sim, all you got to do is whack it in the FMC, set the minimums, so you're pretty much good to go. But you step through it, work out your descent points, go from there.
Broadsword 1, descend at 5,000 feet.
So altitude 5,000, Broadsword 01. So that is now set 5,000 feet check. We should be doing 230 knots, I believe. So we're just going to go legs. Yeah, we're going to go level change now. That will get us to 230. Just use a little bit of speed brake just to get us back onto our vertical profile. So we're about 600 feet high. Right, there is 10,000 for 5,000. We can do the post-cruise checks. Fuel 4 pumps on, lights. APU's off, pressurization is all set. Seatbelts verify on a recall, and we have approximately 10 minutes to landing. There we go. Excellent. So, pretty much straight in. Vertical profile will come back to us. There we are. I love that when you're off the chart. They're coming in. And we are routing, I guess that's going to take us via Optod. It's on the arrival there, but what's the Goreg, Optop. Coming in via Optop, which isn't here, and then we're routing direct to Goreg, which is fine. Sudas is just the 90-degree offset RNAV point to come in. Good, so speed brakes out, vertical profiles looking good. Awesome. Epic Face 92, what is the difference between MDA and DHDA? Where are they on the approach chart? An MDA is a minimum descent altitude. That's applicable to a non-precision approach where you're basing your altimeter setting off the QNH or inches of mercury here. A DA or decision height is a radio altitude, so we base that off a radio altitude. A DH, sorry, off a decision height, which is radio altimeter, which we use in my operator for Cat 2, Cat 3 approaches. But again, you'll find that information online. Far better explained. Now, if we were doing an RNAV approach, you'd actually detune the ILS, because if they weren't doing an ILS and using RNAV, for example, you wouldn't want the ILS tuned because it might give you false information or something spurious. So you don't want to use the ILS. So what I should actually probably do is detune it. We'll put Vancouver as the VOR, and that way we don't have any guff information appearing here. Well, it's correct because it's an X-plane, but we'll turn the glide slope information off, and now we've just got the RNAV information. There we go. So we're going to go back to VNAV. We're on the vertical profile. We can actually stow the speed brake. Should main 230 knots, and now we're waiting for the decel point, which is just here, quite late.
Approach 01, descend 3000 via Goreg, clear the RNAV 26 right approach.
Descend altitude 3000 feet via Goreg, cleared RNAV 26 right. Broadsword 0 on. Right, 3000 feet. That is set. Cleared RNAV approach, coming straight in. Can't remember what I was saying now. Yeah, decel point's very late again, so probably just prior to decel, open the speed window, start bringing the flaps of speed brake out. It always leaves it quite late here in the mod. There we go. Lovely. Yeah, those sounds have changed. You'll get these new sounds very shortly. Right, I think there is a ground frequency online as well. Oh no, tower. Let's put tower on standby. 118.7. Ah, yes. There we go. So always think ahead. Get the next frequency if you have it available. Let's have the VSD on. Okay, you got it, Tom. Usually pilot monitoring at the operator I work for would have this on anyway, but pilot flying wouldn't because it really fills up your ND, especially if you've got weather around. First Officer Shami, when do you think ZIBO will add analog ISFD? Well, it is available, I think. I think you can select the analog on in the settings. David Blancard, just over my hometown now. Grew up there. Fantastic. Right, so I probably want to start decelerating. So what I'm going to do is select flaps 1, open the speed brake, open the speed window. Hopefully the aircraft will now start slowing down nicely. Nice continuous descent though today. No issues with the people living over your hometown, David. They wouldn't hear us coming in. Slight tailwind, so I'm actually going to go straight to flap 5. Just keep that aircraft decelerating. Matching runway heading to 263.
Delta 57 descend.
Oh, call established. Right, actually we need to step down. So next altitude, be referring to the chart, is to step down to 1500 feet, which we can do 1 mile before Zovgo. At broadsword 01 established on nav 26 right. How's it checked?
Broadsword 01 contact tower now 118.7 CF.
Tower 118.7 broadsword 01. Good afternoon. There we go. Tower's now online. So this is the final approach fix coming up here. We would usually now be setting this lower altitude, so we can set 700 feet. Look at the mod. Mod has been flawless today. Really good. Really. 700 feet VNAV path and speed window is open. There we go. So it might just do a little brief level off. It shouldn't, but sometimes in a real aircraft it can do this as well. It won't let you go below 3,000 feet in VNAV. There you go. This is fantastic. See how the mod started to level off because it was approaching 3,000 feet, and that's a hard altitude VNAV, and now it's pitched down. That is exactly what the real aircraft does. Sometimes it can just do its little pitch up and then starts pitching down on an RNAV there. Right. Looking good, and I will check in now with Vancouver Tower. Vancouver Tower, good evening. Broadsword 01, established RNAV 26 right, just past 8 miles.
2500.
Broadsword 01, Vancouver Tower, good afternoon. Wind 210 at 6, clear to land, runway 26 right.
Right, 26 right, cleared to land, broadsword 01. 210 at 6, that's something I can deal with. How many people got watching now? 570. Fantastic. This is interesting. Captain Canada, who's here earlier, I've never actually really spoken to. I got a video from someone saying I need to get a landing rate calculator, which is something I've always found quite interesting, because from a training point of view, I've been flying the 737 for 8 years. I've taught people how to land a 737, but I couldn't tell you how many feet per minute constitutes a smooth landing. As a pilot, you will always want a absolute greaser, absolutely, but not at the expense of flying through the touchdown zone. Now, if you're flying on a runway like this, no problem. You've got a bit more space and all that touchdown zone to use to get yourself nicely done. But I will do my absolute best to greaser in. We'll butter it, lure pack. Oh my god, where's the aircraft going? A little pitch down there. We'll do our best. We'll go for the greaser. But I won't probably get a landing rate calculator because I don't have one in real life. Right, I'm completely lost now. 4 miles, so gear down, flap 15, landing checklist to flap, start switch is continuous, recall is checked, speed brake, armed green light, landing gear, down 3 green, set the missed approach altitude, which I've completely forgotten what it was. I think it was 3,000 feet. That is now set. And we can now select the landing flap. Seems quite late, but this is completely normal. We configure quite late like this in reality. Flap 30 match speed. So flaps, we've got 30 green light lights on. Checklist complete. There we go. Right. So VNAV mod, fantastic work. 2 reds, 2 whites. I've got a lot of tips and donations coming in. I'll read them very shortly, but quickly. We got £2 from Jacob McGregor and another £2. Butter por favor, twice. Brilliant, thank you very much. Right, we'll see what we can do. Right, so looking good. 2 reds, 2 whites. Vertical profile's perfect. And we'll start to disconnect. Now, I'm not recycling the flight director today. That is because on this RNAV approach, there's no need to. It's not offset, it's straight in. The guidance should be pretty accurate all the way to touchdown. So, but you should be primarily looking outside, not at the instruments at this point. You know, really looking outside. They do need to cut these trees down. That's a little bit of an issue. 2 reds, 2 whites. Keep it descending. Looking for around 750 feet per minute. Shallowed it off a little bit there, a little bit high, but not too much. Don't go too crazy.
50, 40,
Keep it coming down. Check, close, just hold the attitude. Oh, look, I'm trying to grease it.
Long landing.
Oh,
Long
shush,
landing.
Raz.
2,000
That was way too long. Sorry, the long landing shouldn't be saying like that. Anyway, speed brakes up, reverses. I'm just trying to butter it. I'm obsessed. 100 knots. 80. Am I going to make this high speed? Yeah, just about. 52 knots. That's sort of, well, no more than 65 knots for a high speed exit. Just about good. So we vacated at Mike 4, which is the first high speed.
Mike Victor, Hotel Delta, Hotel 265.
There we go. So I'm just going to put the flaps up. I'm just going to wait for the taxi instructions as well, which might be an absolute mouthful, and I have absolutely no idea where I'm going. And this is also freeware scenery, so it might not be that good. Broadsword 01 vacated 26 right at Mike 4. I think it was Mike 4, Mike 2, not 100% sure.
Broadsword 01, welcome to Vancouver. Taxi to the gates via Victor Hotel Lima, ramp your discretion. Have a good day.
Victor Hotel Lima and ramp at own discretion. Broadsword 01. Good afternoon, sir. There we go. Well, I'll take that. Those are my sort of instructions. Right, we can start the clean-up and then we'll work out where we go. I'm going to start looking at the comments very shortly because they are always absolutely hilarious. It really makes my day. Right, that's all set. Right, transponder to out off. Flaps are up, speed brakes up, VSD can come off. I've completely lost it there. I'm not 100% where we're going, so we're looking for hotel. Where is hotel? So I can't even find hotel. So in this round, if you can't find a stand like this, especially taxiing, you just bring it to a stop. Especially if someone coming straight towards me.
Broadsword 01, hold position.
Oops, hold position, broadsword 01. I might have missed the exit there. I don't know if it's my fault or his fault. I'm just basically taking it steady.
Air Canada 842, hold position.
Uh-oh, something's happened. I probably did something completely incorrectly.
Air Canada 842.
Hold on, just set the parking brake. and I'll finish the cleanup.
Broadthrow 01, looks like you ended up on Mike. No worries. Go ahead, turn right on Juliet, ramp your discretion.
My apologies, right on Juliet, thanks, broadsword 01. Oops, so that's why you have to basically listen to your instructions carefully. Don't taxi until you've basically familiar where you are. Now I'm looking at the chart. I vacated at Mike 4. Oh, he said Victor, sorry. That should have been a straight line onto Victor. I've just missed that, and I'll take the first right here at Juliet. There we go. Good, but that is usually when I stream. Obviously, I stream in Europe, and a lot of the destinations I go to, I'm very familiar with, so I can actually, you know, when I'm landing there, I know exactly kind of where I'm going. Here, I've not even looked at the chart. I've literally spent 0 seconds. So when I vacated there, I have no idea where I was, no idea what taxi I'm on. When you fly in real life, you brief everything in a lot of detail. You actually know where you're going to be parking in most places, so you just follow the guidance. You know where you're parking, you know where you're going to go, where you're going. So yeah, that's why I always make excuses, guys, but I have to explain myself because I fly this thing for real life. So when you make me see mistakes like this, you must be thinking, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Which is true, I don't know what I'm talking about half the time. Make it up. Right, we're going to go in a straight line anyway now, and then we'll make a left and find our stand there. This scenery is from TDG. I don't know him personally. He makes freeway scenery. I've used him a few times. It's really, really good. He uses a lot of default textures and stuff, but all the ramps and taxiways seem to be correct and all work correctly. We'll follow the international sign, and then we'll follow a stand into there. We'll start the APU. Weather radar, very good. I always forget that at the stream. Very good, George W.O. Oh look, let's go next to the Air Canada 777. There's a lot of static aircraft on this scenery. Yeah, it'd be quite cool. It's a great shame. I'm very happy that we got some VATSIM actually, some ATC. But yesterday there was a proper VATSIM event here, and we could have got a lot more coverage, well, coverage all the way, which would have been cool. Concourse 1231, it's Vancouver Tower. Thanks for flying into Vancouver. Well, thank you very much. I'm sorry I didn't listen to your taxi instructions properly and I messed it up for you. I made you do some work. There we go. Well, let's take this. Oh no, we said we're going to go next to the 777, didn't we?
Good afternoon, Vancouver Tower. Delta 57 with you on the Almaz approach 26 right.
X-Laser Beam, that was a greaser. Have your airline got a max simulator, and are you set to become pilot on one when it unbanned? Yes, the operator does have the max on order. We should be hoping to get it at some point. I don't think this year, but maybe next year. And yeah, I've only done the presentation, the kind of conversion on the max. I've never been in the sim. I've never flown it. There we go. Lights roll off. Don't think we've got any gate guidance here, so we'll just push her onto stand, or taxi her onto stand, sorry, and then shut the aircraft down there. Then I'll read the comments, which are always a good laugh, and then we'll look at the replay, and that's it. I won't do the sector back because it's just approaching midnight here in the UK, and I have been up since 7. So we're talking, I don't even know how many hours I've been up. Too many, 16, 17 hours. I'm exhausted, as per usual. Right. No idea where to stop, no marshaller, no gate guidance. That shall do us nicely. Perfect. Parking brake is set. We've got 2 blues, red, edge is dead. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Vancouver, where the local time, I've got it here, is 10 to 4 in the afternoon. Fantastic. Nice little flight outside of Europe for a change of scenery there. Right, transit shutdown flow. Because you wouldn't usually do just one sector where I work. We'll put the packs there, open the isolation valve, AP bleed on. Let's get some nice temperature for the cabin. Fuel, I saw fuel. Why is there shouldn't be a fuel master caution if there's no pressure lights illuminated. That is a bug. Anti-collision light can come off, and transponder 2000 stand by. There we go. So before I do anything else, that's the checks complete. I'll log off of VATSIM. There we go. And disconnect. Right, my favourite part is reading these comments. Right, here we go. Something about RNAV, questions coming at Lurpak. I got butter, I got a rip, I got float, I got the butter ended up on the floor, I got no butter emojis coming in from the members. Butter, you were fired. Yeah, if you were landing in, let's say, Dortmund in Germany, and you did that, you would have gone around 4 seconds before I touched down. You'd be halfway down the runway. Absolutely. Oh, David Blanco, I'm homesick. Obviously reminds you about Anthony Teal almost ended up in Japan. Outstanding, some of the comments here. Right, guys, so transponder set. You know what time it is. It's time to watch the replay. So, Altar, and here is the ending music. Right, let's get ourselves onto the approach. Nice long taxi in. That should do us nicely.
2,500. 500.
Coming in there. So yeah, and again, hopefully you'll look now. ZIBO is very good at this. If he's still awake, he should have released this version of the mod right now, so you could download 3.34 version 3 final. As you've just seen, I fly the Takeoff for real, and it did it pretty much flawlessly. I had no real complaints there. So yeah, it should be available publicly. There we are over the threshold. There we go. Waited till 20 feet to check. Ooh, floating and floating and floating and floating and down. That would not be what I want to see if you were in the simulator. It would be okay. So just to point out on the runway, ideally this is where you want the wheels to touch. You have the whole touchdown area here. I never pointed this out in the stream. That's where you'd ideally like to touch down. You have until here to touch down. So you're fine, you're still in the touchdown zone, you're still well within it, but very long. You don't want to be outside of that area there for touching down. If you've got a short runway, you can forget it. Anyway, let's just do another view from... I like to do one about where we touch down. There we go. It really floated out. There we go. Nice. It was good though. For an airport like this, you can get away with doing landing like that, no problem. Perfect, guys. So thank you very much for this very late night stream, certainly for the guys in Europe. Thanks for staying put for those members in Discord as well, and also thank you very much for the help yesterday getting everything set up for me. But that was a really enjoyable stream in Canada. We must escape Europe a few times more, because it's nice to see some different places, different airports and stuff. So yeah, we'll definitely be back in Canada at one point as well, and in America. But yes, when am I going to live stream next? That's a very good question. I hope... I'm driving down to my new base on Friday. I hope to get one more done before then. We'll see what I can do. I'll try and keep you posted. But sometimes, like this stream, I don't tell you when I'm streaming. I'm just going to do it straight away, and it catches you off guard. Once again, massive thank you to everyone that tipped and donated. On this channel, you will never have to pay anything. All my content will always be free of charge. But I really do appreciate people do realise the amount of effort and work and support I put to ZIBO, and it's nice to get a little bit of something back there, so I appreciate it nonetheless. Guys, enjoy your week and what's left of the weekend, especially if you're in Canada and America, and I'll see you all guys in another Flight Deck to Sim live stream in the very near future. Good afternoon, good evening.